downtime activities last time and kind of rolled through those and kind of played around through those. Um, and I forgot to message you over because I'm in a long state of dealing with crap.
It's fine.
Give me 1 second. Give me like 2 minutes, guys, and I will get everybody squared up and on the same page.
For sure. Does anybody know if we took a long rest at some point?
Yes, we've
Yes,
passed 2
you had
days.
2 days.
Two long
Just
rests.
Relaxation.
making sure so I can click the button.
Yes.
And we
Yes.
all
No.
have the morning. Well, yeah, we all have 7 temp HP every day because we eat at the end.
Yes.
Alright, cool. Also, am I the only one that hears battle music in Roll20?
You probably all do because I haven't
Uh,
turned it off.
Okay.
Yes, I hear 2 sets of music playing over
Yeah.
top of each other,
Just
so
making sure I'm not crazy.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh, you're still crazy, but
not for that.
but not for that.
Yes, I heard. I heard that, MTC.
There we go.
Nice.
Okay, just want to make sure that's something that was covered.
Yeah, it was covered in the video.
That's right. Okay. Cool.
Yay!
Cool.
I'm
Sorry.
glad it works.
That's awesome.
I just put it up and prayed.
I am recording right now, by the way. So
Sweet.
Sweet. Cool. So basically, I did want to go back and do the two of you's downtime activities and things that you might have wanted to go over and do. Very similar to the way that everybody else did theirs. I didn't want to take a lot of heap of time out of it, but I wanted to give you all your space to use your 2 days as well. So I guess we can start there, and then council meeting is just gonna. Okay, cool. Okay, so we'll be good. Cool. So Magnu, I guess we can start with you.
yay!
What in your downtime did Magnu want to try and improve upon?
So I believe we discussed Magnu attempting to learn how to drive a boat or sail a boat, not drive a
Okay.
boat.
Right. Okay. So you would have spent your time immediately going to the coastline in the city, trying to like gain some insight, find somebody with a boat or any type of
Oh yeah,
vehicle.
I'd flag down like everyone that I could see that had a boat and be like, "Can you teach me? Can you teach me?" Until I got something.
So as you go to the shoreline and you're getting close to the water, you don't see any like large boats or even medium-sized boats on the water itself. Quite curious as it is. And as you get closer, you can see some people kind of like near a harbor-style area with like dry docks and things, or long docks and things like that. But again, no big boats. You do see these much smaller vessels that are moving extremely quickly across the water. Um, and you see a number of humans, half elves, and elves kind of driving them, riding them, and kind of like cheering on from the shoreline and things like that as you approach. Um, what you see is essentially a lot of 1 to 2 person boats that seem to be operating with some type of crystal as its mechanism. As you flag people down and you kind of like look around and ask, "Oh, what's that? What are those?" Um, a young, kind of maybe adolescent age, half elf, just kind of looks at you, tiny, short kobold, and kind of reacts a moment, and then kind of looks back. Oh man, those are swift rigs. They're the newest thing, man. They're all about the rage. You ever read one? Have you ever drove one?
Nope.
And basically, you see the equivalent of a short canoe type boat with a sail and a gemstone on the back, and you see people kind of like, I need to turn my camera on so I can show you what I show because things and stuff. Basically, like kind of like controlling the sail and also like accelerating in some form or function to kind of like speed around. It's essentially like unit, like small 1 to 2 person like boat style jet skis, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah, I get you.
Um, very flashy, very fast, and people who are using them seem like they're having a hell of a time. Um, but yeah, you ever ridden one? You ever been on one?
No. Are they easy to use?
Uh, they're easy enough for uh, You're a bit shorter than most people who drive one, but yeah, they're easy enough to learn. And then he kind of like shouts out to one of the people going out and about and doing on the water, and like call him in. And as this swift rig kind of like rocks up to the shore and kind of like slows down, and you can see the gentleman on it kind of like balancing the sail to hold it down and slide it toward the coast. Um, he kind of like stops and says, "What's up, fish? How you doing, man? Hey, I was just talking to this little guy here. He's never been on a swift rig before." And the dude's like, "Oh, totally, man. Yeah. You want to get on? I'll take you for a spin."
Excitingly, Maggie would like run aboard.
And then like climb back on and just say, "All right, now for passengers, there's nowhere to really like hold on to, man. So just like brace yourselves. It's gonna be a bumpy ride." And like he presses down on what appears to be like a pedal of some sort, and you see the arcane crystal in the back of the boat that's kind of or back of the ship that's kind of like right beside you. Just begin to like glow and hum, and this thing just accelerates and starts to take off. And he starts like steering it with the thing, and you can feel the wind blasting by your face and just like the spray of the water. This thing moves. Like you're used to boats, you're used to things that like sail. This thing is like skidding across the water, and it's it's impressive. He's a pretty good driver about it, man. It doesn't seem like it's too difficult, like, but it's definitely like made for a person of human size height, like humanoid, not halfling size. I mean, there might be, but you're basically just going around the water having a blast. I need a Constitution saving throw from you, Magnu, real quick.
14.
14. Cool. So he hits this really like sideways wave, and the boat just like jumps it and goes up in the air, and you manage to like brace yourself and hold on to the landing as it just splashes down and splashes up. And after a few more minutes of like taking you around and just kind of like trolling around, he's gonna pull back up to the coastline and just shout out. He's like, uh, he's gonna look at you and say, "Hey man, what'd you think, man?"
Maggie would look back at him and be like, again.
um, and it'll take you out and do another lap and around again, doing more crazy tricks this time and kind of like cutting the boat. You can see it almost like tilting to a 45 almost degree angle where it's almost like letting him water, and he just like shifts it around and twists it back and forth. And now he's just kind of like showing off at this point. Continues to do a few maneuvers, and some of the day passes by as you're just enjoying your time riding the swift rigs. After he comes back in the second time, he's like, "All right, I'm gonna take a break for a little bit, man. Hey, Fish, if you want to jump on, you're more than welcome to." And the other guy's like, "All right, I'll take it for a spin." And he goes out, and he's not as good, but he's on the water doing the things. And the guy's just kind of chilling on the shoreline with you now. So I don't normally see many people like you around here, man. I appreciate you enjoy the surf and the coast, man. Uh, what are you what are you doing here?
I'm here with my friends. We're trying to figure out what's going on with the forest.
Yeah, the forest, man. That's some heavy stuff, man. It's all about that forest. I'm not really a huge fan,
Yeah,
but I respect you trying to fix it.
yeah. We have a few days off, so I decided to come here and try and find someone to help me learn how to sail or
Uh,
anything of the sort.
You want to learn how to ride one, drive one? We don't really have like big boats here, man. This ain't really a harbor. We just got the rigs, and uh, they're decently easy. We could try and find you one your size, like a kid rig or something like that. We could try and get you in on it.
Yeah, I'd love to learn.
And then he'll go out. Stay right here, man. I'll be right back. Watch Fish mess himself up. And he walks off and disappears down the beach line for a little bit. And about 20 minutes or so later, comes back, informs you that he's found. Yeah, did he find one? He did find one. I'm sure he did. Oh yeah, that's a 20. Good. So he comes back a little bit down the way. He's like, "All right, man, I found one that this kid's letting me borrow. Uh, totally letting me borrow it, I swear. If you want, you can get on, and I can show you how it works. It's all about the pedal and you gotta let up off it and ease on it. The arcane rune in the back is the important part, man. This thing makes the whole thing go whoosh, bam, man. And you just gotta steer it with it. And he's just like going off on this total surfer bro like explanation of how to mechanically use this thing. Let's see. Where's your character sheet? Your character sheet somewhere with a thing. I mean, it's obviously in front of you, but I can see it too. Did we have a watercraft proficiency or vehicles stat yet?
I have land vehicle stat.
Cool. All right, so that's dex based. All right, cool. So you managed to get in this kid's rig basically, and you're like hanging on to it and like trying to balance it. And this is more appropriately sized for you. You can kind of like shift the sail back and forth. It's two grips on the side of this large sheet with a mast in the center, and you can just kind of like uh, I think wakeboarding is the right term, but I might be wrong. Anyway,
Right.
yeah, but basically it's very understandable. Make me a water vehicles check, and for that we're just going to
Like
use
straight dex.
dexterity and yeah, yeah. So let's make a well, let's make an intelligence roll. Actually, let's make an intelligence roll for water vehicles. See if you pick up on the mechanics of this thing.
All right. 13.
13. Okay. Um. Yeah. Immediately when you get in there, you're like, "Oh, I want to go fast." And you like slam down on the pedal, and you like catch it. It's like, "Oh." Well. And you kind of like get your balance on it. Takes a couple laps around, and you're kind of like getting familiar with the mechanics and things like that. Um. And you're just having the time of your life, just blasting across the water, back and forth, this, that, and the third, that, and the third. And then let's see, it's and a thing. We'll say that's basically the first day of your 2 days. I assume you're going back the next day to
For sure.
continue playing around and messing around. Cool. So on the second day, I would need you to make me a dexterity. Well, let's make it a dexterity check because that's going to be what it's going to be eventually. So do a dexterity roll for me.
16.
16. Very nice. So the next day you get back there and you're just ready to go. Um, Killing it as far as like controlling on the water and getting a feel for it, understanding how the water moves under the boat and like sailing in general is like, oh, the wind does this and then you adjust like that. And you're picking it up really, really quickly. What I'm going to say is mechanically, you now have a water vehicle stat that goes off of dexterity. And I would say you have proficiency in that.
Okay.
Very nice.
Because you've kind of like mastered how to move on the water with this thing. You can add that to your character sheet in your own time. I also need a luck roll for me. Just roll a d20.
Oh, I hate luck rolls. Um,
Can't go much worse than ours.
10. Right in the
Oh, that's
middle.
not bad. Cool. Interesting.
Thanks.
Cool. Okay, so you see, at the end of the second day, and you're just like training around with Fish and his friend, um, and just kind of like been practicing and doing things like that. Um, where did you kind of like call it a day, and you're about to walk back to the inn and the tavern to meet up with your fellow crew? Um, Fish stops you for a moment. Hey, man, watch this. Watch what they're about to do over there, and he kind of like points you to the water. Um, you see that they take the adult-sized swift rigs. They've got about two or three of them, and they've lassoed a rope onto one main one and had two or three kind of like dragging with and behind, and then four people get on them separately and begin to like travel in a almost like swift rig caravan kind of across the water and start doing tricks and like um God damn it, water skiing almost in a sense, like that whole setup and that whole style of thing. It's just like multiple people traveling with the swift rigs at once. And they start to do some crazy looking tricks. Like one of them kind of like leaps out of the air after hitting a nice wave, and kind of does this nice like spiral in the air and lands back down. Um, they also seem like they're having a blast as the sun begins to kind of descend over the water. And then Fish is just gonna look at you. Man, you picked that up really quick, man. You need to come back and hang with us on the coast sometime, bro. Like, I know you're busy dealing with the forest, and that's all cool and all, man, but the water's where it's at. Got to be in tune with that water, man.
Definitely be back. Next time we'll race.
You want to race the fish, bro? I'm fastest in the water, man. I don't think you got this. But I will check you next time, little man. He's just gonna like walk off down back towards the beach where they're all doing their thing. And you're back to the city. You're able to head back to the Oak Father's Boon where you've been drinking with your friends the past few nights. And just from everything that happened, you're like these things are not for people trying to stay dry, if that makes sense. Just like traveling on a Swift rig is like the spray, the
Yeah,
splash,
it's
the
not a
water,
boat
everything
that's
else.
like covered.
No, it's not a boat. It's like a jet ski. So like you're going to be soaking wet. And you do enter the tavern itself, just like almost like drying from the walk, but still like dripping wet, just like a smile on your face, happy as can be. Just you did the thing. You had a blast doing it. And your friends are sitting at a table over in the corner, and you just run over, ready to go. With that, we're going to switch over to Cyrus and your 2 days of downtime. What did you have in mind for your skill building or what you wanted to do on the side?
Give me just a second. I just took a bite.
Oh no, you're good. I'm sorry. Oh, that's funny.
Okay. I had two things in mind. We talked about one of them. The other one, we talked about quite a while ago, but haven't really had any downtime to pursue it. I think the first thing that Cyrus would have done, anybody who would have been paying attention to him on the way back from the temple after that fight, would have noticed that he kind of forlornly keeps looking in his bag where Augie would normally rest. Everything like that. Just kind of very, very down, as if, not quite sure why his friend, obviously got hurt and then disappeared. Um, he would have been very, very quiet, uncharacteristically, and just the first night would have probably taken a room to himself, when we got back from the village, and would have been in that room, directly after dinner or whatever. And anybody, nobody's in the room with him, but he would have basically taken all of his gear out and kind of did like, he was taught growing up as the soldier and kind of the cleric and the paladin, cleaned his armor, cleaned his gear, would have spent quite a bit of time working and, polishing the blade that he has, and effectively meditating and kind of thinking, trying to understand what's happening. And essentially would have, I guess I'll let you take over. We talked about it a little bit, but
Yeah. Gotcha. Cool. So, interesting. Sorry.
You're right.
I apologize. I'm reading back on notes from like 3 weeks ago.
You're right.
That's the problem is I need like an organized notes and I don't have it. It's fine. That would be great, but I'm not watching a video and the video doesn't help. The video doesn't help about stuff that was said in text DMs. Cool. So you are in the room by yourself with the sword and like trying to focus on your lost friend. like trying to meditate and get back into like a mind state where you first met Augie. Um, and if you're sitting there and trying to focus, make a Constitution saving throw for me, please.
Here, I'll just roll it right here.
Cool.
Oh,
What was that? Ooh,
natural one.
cool. Natural ones are not always a bad thing. They're just an interesting way to get into things. Cool. So you are sitting there meditating, and you're trying to focus on your friend and your potential connection and whatever this weapon is, and whoever you're gaining your power from. And you're just kind of like sitting there thinking and focusing, and then you begin to drift off, and you begin to like kind of like come in and out of consciousness, almost uncontrollably. You try and open your eyes, and they're heavy, and then you can't quite bring yourself to get up, and you're almost kind of locked in place where you're at. Um, 1 second. Pause. I need to do one thing. Check your DMs. How's everybody's day?
Sorry.
Cool. No need to yell at me.
I didn't mean to do that, sir.
No, you're good. I figured. I was saying, I'm sorry. It was like half of it was regular, and the rest is all caps. Sorry. Cool. Cool. How to go about this? So you kind of like, you almost wake up, but you're definitely in just like this dark space, this blackness. And you're like sitting up in the same position you were. The sword is not in your hand. Um, it's not the same room you were in, but you feel your back against something hard and heavy, like a stone wall or something like that. But the rest of it is almost unseeable to you. Everything else is very dark and black. And you see almost like a silhouette, like a ethereal silhouette of your little friend, Augie, kind of like floating in the distance and like spinning around in the air, and then just kind of like fades away and vanishes. Um, you hear a voice. It is good to see you again. It's been some time, but I appreciate when I get to talk to you. I You're looking for your friend. You can't seem to find your companion. What? It, it's a comforting voice, but it's also something you've kind of like felt before but never heard, and it's not a voice you recognize, if that makes sense.
And I still can't see anything.
You see a small red like light kind of like hovering almost in front of you,
Like a
probably
like a
about 10 feet out.
Okay.
Every time you
Well,
hear the words of the voice, it seems to pulse along with like the speech.
I am kind of, still, I guess I would say groggy from
Yeah. I mean, you can
nodding
move.
in and
Your
out here.
facilities are with you, but you're in
I
a place
start to
foreign to you.
just stand up,
Mhm.
very cautiously, and I would say it's good to see you too, but I don't know that I can say I've ever actually seen you. Is this you?
You you've reached out to me before. You were sorrowed with the grief over not being able to exact judgment. I responded by providing you with tools to enact your judgment. You might not have been able to hear my words previously, but we have met. Your small friend, my friend, Agi, as we call him, is a way that I can be close to you.
Is he still
And
okay?
he he was hurt, but he can always be brought back. He is a unique creature with special properties. Um, all you have to do is focus on him. Believe that he will appear in front of you again. And clear your mind. Um, he should return. It might take some of your energy that I give you every day, but if you focus hard enough, our little friend may return to your side.
I appreciate his companionship over the last few months.
Hmm.
Felt very much alone once he was gone.
Interesting. I need to do a thing. I'm sorry. Doing a thing. Dice things. Dice things. Oh, good. Awesome. Um, the voice in your head and just pulsating from this. You all have had a very connected time together. I know he has not been far from your side. Being without him must have been a tragic experience. But like I said, bringing him back need only take a bit out of you. Um, and you feel something kind of like almost pulling at you from the inside, like inside your flesh, inside your bones, like almost down to where your blood is. You almost feel some type of energy almost being sapped out of you as the light kind of grows and glows for a moment. And you see that wispy version of Augie that was kind of fluttering around that had disappeared and then is now flown up in front of the light, begin to recoalesce into the pseudo dragon that you're familiar with. And he becomes corporeal. Corporeal, he becomes like tangible and he is there. And you see a slight glow coming off of Augie that kind of illuminates the area around. And you can now see that this red gemstone is kind of affixed into the chest of some larger figure. Um, you feel the energy kind of like sap from you for just a moment, and then it kind of releases, and your muscles detense. And it almost seems as if your energy has created Augie back in this mindset.
Can I
Uh,
ask a
sorry,
clarifying question real quick?
absolutely.
You said the gemstone, basically what I'm seeing speak and glow,
Yes, was
seems to
coming
be
from
affixed to a
a
being.
larger figure's chest. Like when you were seeing it glow and like pulse, you could only see the light. And now
Gotcha.
that Augie is letting off a slight glow, you see like this larger figure with like this black cloak type.
Okay.
It's still unrecognizable, but you see it's attached to a someone.
Okay. And you already answered that question. You said unrecognizable. Okay.
But again, like I said, the voice sounds. It almost hits your ear like an old friend, even though you're not familiar with who this is. It's almost like as if Warren or Magnu were having a conversation with you, and like that kind of familiarity. But
Okay.
you've never seen this thing before. The voice kind of like, well, I'm glad we could clear that up. I hope this brings you some peace. I think that you still need to be vigilant in gaining your justice. Your perpetrators and the people you seek may not be as far off as you expect. Always keep an eye out. And then, kind of as you see this figure kind of like swell up one more time, and you almost see like an arm shape kind of like drift out from underneath the cloak. You see the pseudo dragon in front of you, like swirling back and forth. It's kind of going to fly towards you and almost fly into your face. And suddenly you're back in the Oak Father's Boon, sitting there, sword in hand, kind of like nodded off to the side of it, and you just like jolt awake. And you're up in your room. What jolted you awake is a small red pseudo dragon kind of like nipping at your hand.
Well,
And little
I
boy's back.
pretty much,
Oh yeah.
kind of gather him close there and kind of stare off into the distance a little bit there and um, kind of look at Augie and um, so you're my link to him or her or
Just kind of
whoever.
looks up at you and just like, meow, meow, meow.
Okay. Um, I guess I should have asked him more questions about what we're doing here. I know he said you're one of my tools, but tools to do what exactly?
I'm actually curious about pseudo dragons for a second. I need to look up a thing. Um, but as your creature has come back to you,
Was Augie always red, or is he red now? I
He's
guess I missed
red.
that.
He's red with like wherever there's like loose membrane, the wings,
oh, I
and stuff
apologize.
like that.
I'm foolish. Yes, he was. Augie's actually decently smart. He's got limited telepathy. I forgot about that. Fun stuff.
Yep.
So then it's not just Ranks and Rux. It's you would hear well, I know I'm created to kind of keep eyes on you and stuff and make sure you're okay. And that was a crazy thing that happened back there where I just like disappeared. That was kind of wild. And I was just told to make sure that you're okay. I don't really know. There's a purpose. I didn't hear about a purpose. What do you want to do?
So Cyrus, at this point, some of this is flavor, but is is immediately floored at the voice because up
That
until this
hasn't been
point in
there
time we've
before yet.
never spoke. Yep,
Mhm.
we've never spoken to each other before. So
Mhm.
Cyrus is taken back quite a bit there for the moment, and
Excellent.
I look down at him and I'm like, we've never talked before. Are you him, or you're just here to help?
And like it's not opening its mouth and like speaking. You're just hearing
Yeah.
telepathy in your head. But you would hear. I mean, I could always talk. Maybe now you're just able to hear me. Maybe gave you that link. I don't know.
Well,
I'm still me. I still like to eat little things and scavenge here and there, and flying around. I, I, I I guess I thought you could hear me the whole time.
well, I'm glad I can now. I guess we'll see what else new happens with this friendship here as we go along. Suppose we should go check on the others and
Yeah, you're okay. Cool. So that would be your first night after back from the village. And then you would go, I guess, when you wake up and start it, it's probably about 4 or 5 in the morning. Everybody's kind of asleep and out still.
okay.
But later in that morning, you would all probably convene down in the breakfast hall for the first meal of the day, things like that, like you've been doing. And then most of the party and everybody else would have gone off to do their own adventuring around the town and exploring kind of individual things. So we'll say that because that would have been the first night back from the Druid's Grove, not the 2 days that you have for downtime. So
So
in downtime, is there any skills, abilities, proficiencies that you would like to work on, possibly gain, or some money to gain from just working around the places, or would you like to do some research? You have all these options available.
I would like to, like I said, pursue the healer feat that we had talked about.
Hmm.
And my thoughts were, I would assume the Druid's Grove or the Druid's Circle
Hmm.
would have a hospital or a healing area, and go and
Hmm.
being raised
Sure.
in a
Yeah,
hospital, go and assist and try to
mhm,
learn.
absolutely. So yeah, so you could easily make it down to the Druid's Grove. You know where it's at. It's not anywhere that you can't go in this town so far. And you make it down there. Um, a few of your other companions may have also gone in that direction to do some of their stuff. So you probably would have like traveled together and then split off and branched off. Um, my goodness, I hate people. Um, sorry. There's that. I had names. I had stuff. I've been dealing with this awful acid reflux, and I think it's from all that wine. But it's okay. Where's my pen? Where's my stuff? Where's my things? And I've lost everything. Don't you love when you lose everything? There it is. Um, sorry. So you would go to the Druid's Grove, and in there, there's definitely probably a decent number of healers there. There's a small alcove towards the back of the grove that almost seems to have also been carved out from this large tree, um, and kind of into the ground itself. It's almost like a hollow of sorts. And you've kind of been directed there after kind of like asking around through the Druid's Grove and getting there. Um, and this is definitely where they would do any type of healing or training. You would run into elven lady, slightly older. Um, and as you come across her, she's actually in the process of mending a broken leg, uh, just using her magical capabilities and abilities, as well as natural remedies and things like that to just kind of like reshape this leg and fix it. Um, she seems to be working very diligently, doing everything she can to make sure that this poor soul in front of her has a leg again. Um, and when she finishes and kind of rests it out, she turns and, oh, can I help you?
Yes, I just wanted to come and kind of see how things worked in a Druid Circle or a Druid Grove. I grew up in the city in a in a hospital, and working around this, and got some time down for a little bit. So I just thought I'd see if I could come help and learn.
Um, interesting.
I'm Cyrus, by the way.
It's a pleasure to meet you. My name is Elena. I, you say you worked in a hospital with. Mm, Did you work with magic at all, or was it just kind of mending and patching? What experience do you have?
Well, I work with the Knights of the Radiant Heart, and I often, would work in the hospital. Those with just standard, sickness or illness would be tended to, but
Hmm.
those with more serious issues, life-threatening issues, would often be tended by the knights and clerics of the order. And we would do what we could to help them. I myself have not really worked with the magical side of things here, and well, until recently. I've just tended to the more mundane side of it.
Yeah. I'm sure we could help you hone that side of it. Eh, do you mind? And she kind of like reaches her hand out towards your face for a moment. Hey, can I put my hand on your forehead?
Of course.
And she like kind of like focuses, and you see her eyes kind of like glaze over for a moment as she puts her hand on your forehead, and you just feel like something was gleaned from you. What that is, you're not sure. But she kind of like pulls her hand back and is like, well, um, magically inclined in the healing arts is not your. It's not your strong suit as far as like the spell casting healing properties, but you do seem to have an aptitude for banding, wrapping, suturing. Just from what you say, you are more than welcome to help here. We are currently tending to some of the scouts and sentinels that are trying to defend the forest and kick this plague back to where it came from. I'm a little bit overworked at the moment. You're more than welcome to lend a helping hand. Um, I, I believe you should start with, if you know what you're doing. I know I have a couple patients over there. She points to the corner. As you see a slew of probably about 5 or 6 druids and rangers of varying ages and genders and origins. But they are all pretty well wounded, and they look like physical scars, but things that you could probably mend or tend to. She's like, I have to get something for this gentleman back here to put him to sleep for a while so that he can recover. But you're more than welcome. I'll be over in a moment to check on it. You are not going to kill anybody, right?
Not if
You're
I can
not
help.
going to. Okay. All right. And she kind of like, you see Elena kind of like powder patch you and just like almost expectantly leave you into this area. There are a couple of other druids that are kind of like casting mendings and healings. You can see one druid kind of like puts a large um, leaf with some sap on one side of it, kind of like around a wound on somebody's leg, and then she kind of like chants and casts a spell, and it kind of like mends that whole thing. The leaf kind of wraps around the leg, and then it falls off the leg, and there is no more wound. Things like that. I'm very well at healing things and stuff like that. If you're going to assist here, I need you to make a medicine check for the first day of rolls. Basically, we're going to check against contesteds. Nice, very nice. Good for you. Doo-doo-doo. Perfect. Okay, so your first couple of patients goes well as far as like just tending to people. It's like a scratch here, a cut there, um, and then about 2 or so hours into this whole like just helping people out and process, and Elena's come back through at this point and checking on things and helping you and showing you where some of the extensive medical salves that they have and things like that are. Um, a gentleman comes in, being carried by two others, and just like completely destroyed. Gashes across his chest, like this whole like massive like set of slashes, 3 wide, probably about that thick for each. And it's just you're immediately trying to help and extend and take care of them and safety to them. The meager things that you know how to do, like you know how to heal wounds, but these are like deep, heavy gashes. And you hear one of the druids shout out, "Oh, an owlbear got to him. We need to patch him up as quickly as possible." And you see like two druids go over and just like kind of like try to cast healing spells and close the wounds, and the wounds just don't fully close. But you are there assisting and helping out, and it's probably about 2 hours or so worth of patching and sopping up bloods, like doing all the functions necessary to try and save this man, before finally you all manage to do it. But the scars will remain on this man forever, as his sutures and his wounds have finally started to close up via magical and non-magical means, and you manage to assist pretty well with that. But after that, and about 4.5 hours of doing that in total, you are completely spent, and extremely exhausted, just from doing all the stuff. You feel good. You've helped people out. You've done a great service and made a lot of these people's lives easier by
Hi,
patching them
Lori.
up,
This
helping
is
them out,
Maker.
and
How are you?
healing
Today
them.
we're going to talk about this stuff. This strip, and
So we'll
you
say
can see
that
there
is
that I
a
took a
success
Sharpie. I got
check. Cool.
entirely dry.
And then
I go in there. It takes self in the water is like
at the end
really
of it all,
incredible
Elena
and
would kind of come
infusing
back to you.
and where you want only
You did
off
good today.
between
Thank
the
you
rickrack
for
and the
everything
gut.
you
Here
did.
though, before you throw it in the washer and
Barrow
it
would
is
probably not be
really flexible, and
alive if
especially
it
if I'm
wasn't for
doing
your
actually wonder as a
constant
glue.
care.
So you can see how much the
And she
glue is
points over to
retracted.
the gentleman with
I
the three
also
huge
like to
slash
use this
marks,
with
still kind
silicone.
of like
To use
patched up and wrapped up.
just make sure
Um,
you get the color that you want. It's up
I'm
there in the
sure
corner, black,
he would
white,
thank you if
clear.
he could
But
properly
you can find
speak.
this anywhere from Walmart to
Um,
Home Depot. Uh, Now, real
I
quick,
appreciate
here
all of your
are
help.
the cons. I'm going to save the biggest
You are
one for
staying in the
last.
town, of course.
So do
Of
not
course.
use
I've
this
heard that
with acrylic paint. And we're a protected surface
you all
because
also saved
stop
us from
eventually,
the temple
or you put the cap
and
on it.
the main explosion.
Fine. Also,
I'm
the
very
bigger
grateful for that.
glob you use, the
Um,
longer it's going to take to
would you
dry.
mind coming back
But
tomorrow as well?
with
And
a
I've got
bag,
a few
Of course.
more
remember this is
uh,
self-leveling,
patients that
so
might need some
even if you're like
assistance.
very precise, it's still
I'd
going
be
to
happy
spread
to.
out. And the other thing
We
you're going to want
appreciate
to
it.
remember is not to use it
And then you just
with
hear like a
styrofoam
shout come
because
from
it's
the
going
back.
not really
Elena,
important.
come here quick. We got another
Don't forget
problem.
to
Okay. I'm sorry. I do have to go. I wish you well, and I will see you in the morning. She kind of like dashes off. Cool. So then you would go back the next day, presumably, and we'll kind of yada through this. Easier patients this time, not anything ridiculously crazy for the day. I need one more medicine check from you, my guy.
Yeah. If it makes a difference,
Mhm.
I would say I would be willing, being, the short rest type that can reset, you know, spells and stuff.
Ah,
I would basically be willing to, cast cure wounds
mhm.
and then as much as possible reset
Yeah,
a few times during the day to try to
yeah.
help.
And I mean, and you can cure. Like that's not. She was just like you
No,
probably
I
been
get what you're saying.
damaging
I
people and
can't,
stuff. But yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not a
yeah,
cleric
yeah.
that can
No,
heal
I
for.
understand. But yeah, you could do cures and short rests and cures and short rests and things like that. Absolutely. Um, cool. So make that check for me. Yeah, make a medicine check. And I'll say because of the first roll, do it with advantage. I'm going to say the DC is 17.
How do I get advantage on?
I'll just roll it twice.
Ooh.
You got this. I believe in you. Um, yeah, okay. All right. So you spend the second day kind of like staying around healing. There's not as many trauma cases and things like that. It's very much more chill and relaxed. And you do help probably about 20 or so of the Grove kind of get back on their feet and assist them and make sure they've got everything they need. being a great help to Elena. He's very grateful to see you. The cordiality happens all day long, and probably about 8 or so hours go by of you just like working extensively, trying to make sure everybody's taken care of, healed, and properly like set in the grove. You said the goal was to try and get the healer feat.
Yeah, and we had talked about it could be kind of
Yeah.
an overtime thing. So
Yeah, it will be, but you have made progress toward it. But yeah, 13 is not going to be the DC of actually just like learning it on the spot um, over the short time. But I will say, sorry, let me get to your character sheet real quick. See what we got going on here. Do, 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 do. You're already proficient. Okay, cool. Interesting. Um, as you are about to leave on the second day, um, Elena would kind of like look at you and kind of thank you once again for everything you've done, um, helping out, and she will notice. She will notice. Oh no, you haven't. You. Cool. I didn't realize you had a Hitler's kit.
yeah, I bought it back when in our first town there,
That's right, you did.
and then we
That
had to skate
changes
out.
things. That does change things. I didn't realize you were already set up. I'm so sorry. I need to be better on my characters and other characters' character sheets.
You're good.
No, really not, but it's okay. Were you using your healing light charges also?
Yeah, I would have. I mean,
You're just using the whole
I would
gamut
have
and trying to do
essentially,
everything.
exhausted myself
Cool.
every day, just trying to
Okay.
kind of lose himself in the work
Okay.
in helping people. So
So roll one more medicine check for me. That's the case, because you basically spent yourself completely. Ah, it's rough. That's rough. Five. What else? The bandage. 15 the first day. Cool. Yeah, man. I will say that. Uh, Probably with another round of going and helping out the injured, you would probably be able to gain that provision or the feat. Um, but right now you're just so exhausted. It's like it's not even coming to you as part. It's like a mechanical and non-mechanical thing. Um, she's
got it.
very grateful for everything you've done. And she will actually give you a. She will give you two minor healing potions out of their extra stock of things as a gift of gratitude for your helping out with their clinic and making sure that their druids and their rangers are still alive and surviving and doing as well as they can be for being mauled and injured. Cool. Okay, so exhausted, two healing potions richer, and some gain knowledge richer. Mechanically, if you were to do another like side opportunity or spend another bit of downtime or do something that would like help further that craft, you wouldn't have to make a check. You would just get the healer feat after that if you were
Okay.
to do that. But in situationally, you do not get that right away. You already have a healer's kit and you're already proficient, so those are kind of where those limits go.
Yep.
But you do gain two healing potions out of it, two minor heals.
2 minor heals. Got it.
And
Thank you.
you make your way back to the tavern, the Oak Father's Spoon, at the end of the second day with everybody. You would file in probably before Magnu would, because Magnu would get there as the sun. No, actually, you'd probably be one of the last ones in because you've been doing medical stuff and kind of like making sure everybody's like alive. And that was very taxing. So you come in after the sun is set at night, back over to the table and the group where a soaking wet Magnu is sitting there regaling everybody about how crazy these things are, these magical things. And you would walk up to your group with the rest of everybody who's been sitting there very patiently waiting for everybody. Thank you guys. Um, and I believe where we ended last session, or we're retroactively start this session an hour late. I'm sorry. We had a very beautiful halfling in a red dress that was being swooned over and ogled over by a number of gentlemen in the Oak Brothers Boon itself. Not in a creepy way, but just had a gathering of people around her as like followers or fans or something like that. And the moment that we ended on was right about the time as Cade felt a hand on his shoulder and looked up and turned around to see this beautiful lady who's now walked over to him. I can't believe it's you. After all these years.
So I'm looking at her and don't immediately recognize her. Is that right?
Um. Sorry. Wow, why are all these things in fucking hidden places? This is my problem. Sorry. I wouldn't say you would immediately recognize her, no.
Well, I'm
but she
not
seems
rude,
to.
so I still I invite her to sit down so we can have a chat.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like one of those "Hey you" moments.
Right. Oh god, and then that's gonna go sideways. Cool. She kind of sits down regally, and sits there and talks with y'all. It's like, it's so good to see you again. It's been so long. God, it almost feels like it's been forever. How's
Yeah, I
how's
guess I feel
everyone
the
been?
same way because it's not you're not ringing any bells.
She kind of looks at you. Oh my God, words and stuff and things. I'm so sorry. Um, she kind of looks at you. You, you don't remember? I was so fond of our little song and everything. I swear I thought you'd remember. I, how's your? Well, she'll kind of like pause. How's your uncle doing? Maybe that thing's wrong.
Well, I
Um,
haven't. It's been a few years since I've seen him, but last I saw him, he was doing okay.
that's good. I'm glad he's in good spirits and doing well. And you've grown up to be so. Well, you're very dashing. And she kind of like smiles. But no, you really don't remember me. And she kind of like pauses for a moment, thinks up. Uh, I got it. There once was a man named El Moon who made the best buns in Faerun. The elders did scold him whenever he sold them, saying,
And Cade's eyes kind of light up, and he says, "Elm, bring those buns to our room."
exactly. I'm glad you remembered that at least. Uh,
Shulia,
eh,
of course, Shulia
it's,
Barandi.
it's been ages. It's going good to see you, Kate. Um, uh, and then you will hear almost immediately after that a number of those patrons in the distance. Shulia, are you doing all right? Is anybody over there bothering you? No, not at all. He's an old friend. And kind of smiles that away, and the rest of them just go back to their thing. She kind of looks at you. It's been, God, what? It's been at least 10 years or so, but I'm so glad you remembered now.
Is it really you, though?
I,
A lot of people were fond of that rhyme.
it's a beautiful rhyme to be sure, out of a wonderful book by a beautiful halfling. Yes, but you remembered it. Um, she kind of pauses. Hmm. She kind of like grabs your sleeve and kind of pulls it up. You have this scar. How'd you get that?
Well, it was an accident while I was preparing a a set for my uncle's circus.
That's very true. But she's gonna pause this. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to do this as a DM. You almost lost your arm that day, right?
Yeah, it was an accident.
Um, it was somebody's accident. Yes. I remember when Fizwick's enchanted saw kind of cut right through that log and almost took your hand off. Um, I was there. I helped your uncle patch you up.
That's true, actually.
I he had to do a bit of, well, he's not fond of people saying that he does, but he he had to use a bit of his healing. He couldn't just wrap it. It was far too severe, and that's how you got this. And she just like
That's
kind of smiles knowingly.
it's true, actually. There's no way you could have known that unless it's really you.
Because of course it's me, darling.
When I at this point I'm up from the table and I give her a huge embrace.
And she hugs you back. Um, so good to see you. I'm glad that you grew up and have started adventuring on your own and gotten out of the nest. Every good adventurer needs to be able to travel, of course. She says with kind of a gleam and like a nod to like, oh, the adventurers used to travel. That was kind of the joke back in the day. Little inside joke, but you clearly pick up on it and get it and kind of smile because of it. Um, now that you believe I'm me, I mean, I am, of course. Look at me. But who who are all these fine folks? Who's your adventuring troupe?
Just wave.
These are some friends that I've met on the road. We're in Mossstone, sort of seeing if we can help out some of the locals. Or there's a druid, the archdruid Arcus, who asked us to go investigate some spiders that were getting out of hand, at the edge of the woods.
Mhm.
And when we went to go do that, we found that it kind of led us to a site, an excavation where some cultists were trying to summon an evil god. So we kind of tried to interrupt um, their summoning ritual, and it seems like we might have been successful in interrupting it, but in the process there was a huge kind of explosion within the woods of poison magic. And my owl was I have a pet owl that I've been working with recently, and he disappeared. And I know my friend lost his dragon for a period of time. And it seems like maybe there's some residual damage to the woods that the druids are now trying to clear out. But
Kind of
I don't
pauses.
know.
She's like,
You know,
she kind of picks up on one piece of that. Like she's heard the whole story. It's like, oh, you have an owl? Oh, that's wonderful. I'm so sorry for your loss. Um, hmm. Oh
you know,
dear.
I tried to summon him a couple days ago, the same way he came to me originally, but he didn't come to me this time.
Interesting. She kind of pauses. Huh. I mean, we're all here on certain business. I'm looking for something myself, but it seems like this is a much more pertinent problem that I might be able to handle. Um, if if you have some time, I'd like to try and help you find your friend again. Um, I know that sounds unorthodox, but uh, summoning a creature might not be as hard as it seems. And she kind of like pauses for a moment and like holds her hand out, and you all at the table would see kind of like this pulsating energy kind of like summon out of her hand, and then take like this large shape in this reddish color until it like formulates into an actual creature. And you see this large, maybe on all fours, 5 foot tall, uh, massive looking dire bear. You just summons this large creature in the middle of the bar, in the middle of the Oak Father Spoon, no less. And you all just see this large creature and it just goes as it like comes out of this energy.
And
It's
Kate is ecstatic about this. He's like squealing and jumping up and down and clapping at the sight of this bear.
it's like you remember Lucius, don't you?
And I run up and give him a big hug.
And this giant bear just kind of like looks down and then just nuzzles in and takes the hug. No problems at all. Just nuzzles in and then just kind of like sits there patiently looking at her and waiting. She's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, darling. I didn't want to bring you out for no reason, but figured you'd like to see an old friend." And the bear just kind of like, whoa. And she's like, okay. Yeah.
And so at this point, I guess I explain to my friends that
Yeah, go for it.
yeah, sure. So Shulia used to be in my uncle's circus, and she was kind of like the animal trainer there, and so she was able to work with animals, throughout the circus performances. So this is her pet bear, Lucius. Big friend of everybody who was in the circus. Everybody loved Lucius. And here he is. It's so good to see you guys, honestly.
And she would kind of like take the bear, look at the bear for a moment, let him sit up and be around the bar for a moment. And you hear some of the other patrons. It's like, the bear's famous. You hear the calamity coming from some of the, for lack of a better term, fan persons. Fanboys is too on the nose, but fan persons of the lady. And she'll kind of like take the bear and then desummon the bear as well. And the bear just kind of like disappears as quickly as it came. It's all a matter of convenience for people around and the creature's safety itself. Wouldn't want anybody trying to hunt this beautiful bear. That being said, I'm sure I could help work with you to try and find your friend. It's there's not a lot to it really. It's not even about the rituals or the materials so much as it's about your sense of self. She kind of looks over at the rest of the group. Um, I'm sorry, we've been down memory lane for a quick moment. You all look. And she kind of looks over and like pauses down to Magna, who's soaking wet. It's like, you all look like you've had a few days about yourselves. How is everyone? And she kind of looks over to you, Cade. We can handle that later. For now, let's just enjoy the evening. And we'll get back to it sometime overnight or in the morning. But you'll have your friend back within the day. It should be. It's just a matter of ritual and practice.
Well, what brings you to Mostone?
She kind of looks at the rest of the group. She's like, "Do you trust them?"
Yeah, at this point, I think we trust each other. Yeah.
I am looking for, following a rumor per se, about the lost artifacts of the Company of Eight. I've been instructed that I would find more clues near the regions of Mossstone and the Well Death. I've only been in town for a few days, and my sources have led me to the right places, but drawing a bit of a dead end recently. It doesn't seem that anybody in Mossstone knows or is willing to tell about any of the company's exploits. So I've hit a bit of a wall, so I decided to be part of the drinking group. I'm sorry?
I was going to ask if we know what that is.
You've heard of the Company
Yes.
of Eight
We have.
That's
Have
on.
we?
as a group.
Yeah.
Yes.
When was this?
Silvermane talked about him. He was part. They were his adventuring party when he was young.
Oh. I don't remember that. I might. Okay.
It might be in one of the sections where people checked out because I was rambly, but no, it was there. Um, so with that knowledge, yes, she does mention the Company of Eight twice in about 2
Do
minutes.
we know what the artifacts of the Company of Eight are, or is that new to us?
That's probably new to you. You knew that they were an adventuring group. 2 and 2 makes 4 is that they might have had some special artifacts that made them as powerful and as infamous as they were.
So, well, I guess I would ask, like, so artifacts. So, are you treasure hunting?
I'm always trying to find something valuable and priceless. I mean, to go along with myself, of course. It's this priceless, but you're gonna like smiles and blushes at the same time. But yes, to be frank, they are exceedingly rare and sometimes powerful magic objects that the company is rumored to have had. I know of pieces of jewelry. I know of a great broadsword that's been lost to time. I've been doing some research here and there. I studied a lot in the archives and the libraries of and did about a year's worth of research in the city to figure out where I might locate these things. Getting pretty good at this, and Lucius is a pretty big help.
So, traveling on your own then?
For the most part, I find if I keep company too long, they get attached, and well, you know me, I'm a free spirit.
Of course, of course. So I guess I would turn to my group and say, I mean, we have a meeting that is happening the next day. Is that right? Like we're gonna sleep, and then we have the
Yes.
circle. It's the Circle of Druids, right? Circle of
Yes,
Five,
the
or is it
Council of Five.
Council of Five?
Council of Five, Circle of
Hmm.
Eight. That's a wonderful
Yep.
group of names.
Probably why.
Uh,
Trust me, the amount of correcting myself in my head before I say a thing is baffling.
Well, I guess I'm like, I don't ordinarily what I would suggest is that, if she's going to be in town for, until at least tomorrow, that we could go see her after the meeting with the druids. But I don't know if based on party availability right now, if we're going to meet with the druids today. So
No, I
I
mean,
guess I don't know whether maybe we should continue having this discussion or see if there's something we can do tonight, before tomorrow to maybe help her in her effort, or I don't know.
no,
What is...
I mean, it's a 50-50 toss up. Daniel's
What is
completely gone, right? Yeah, that's kind of my thing. Is I don't want to like exclude Daniel from my whole.
Yeah, like we're gonna have to wait on that, right? And do we know if we have him next session, or we're gonna assume that we do?
We should have him next session, yes.
I'm just trying to think. Yeah, if I hadn't shoehorned him in as part of the actual meeting, then it wouldn't be a problem. But kind of screwed that up. Let me message him real quick just to see if he responds. If he doesn't respond, we're doing a session break right now. We can take a 10-minute and reconvene at 4:25 or 25 after, whatever that time is for you in the world of zones. But I'm going to message Daniel and see if he minds us going forward with it, or if we can sidetrack, because we can definitely sidetrack mechanically to get
So,
him that
well, so I
character
guess the
thing.
other thing I'm wondering about, and I guess I would like seek to figure this out through a discussion with Julia, is like, who on whose behalf is she looking for those artifacts? Is this like stuff that she heard about and is just in pursuit of herself, or was she assigned that task by somebody? It kind of sounded like the former, but I didn't get a clear indication of if somebody did assign her that, or if
Yeah,
what's...
I mean, you could certainly ask her, but
Yeah.
she has not revealed that yet.
What would she say?
It's a good question. Let me figure out if the response is
Oh,
A
we
or
have
B.
10 minutes to think.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
Yes. We'll
Yeah.
take a break
Yeah.
and come back.
We'll take a break
Right.
and come back on that.
Actually, if we're taking a break, I can do the thing. Let's see if I can do this. Mm,
So many threads to pull on.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm gonna give y'all threads, man.
It
Like
sounds
it's
exhausting for you, but
it's horribly exhausting, but I'm leaving all the threads. Like if you want to pick up on a line, run with it. I don't give a shit. Like
we've created our own threads in the process. So just like
Mm-hmm.
threads on threads.
I mean, it's very
It's decently
D&D.
problematic. I know it's very D&D, but again, that's my concept of an open world in D&D. Like I'm not putting anybody on the rails. Like whatever comes out of that might be some slogging sessions or some mundaneness, and that's on me. But I hope everybody's enjoying stuff. I know the rest of the table hasn't really gotten a whole lot of playtime yet, but that's on me too.
I am.
I'm having a blast.
Heck yeah.
Four out of five ain't bad. I'll be back.
I too will be back and get some water. Okie dokie.
I might need to take license with this.
What? License with what?
I'm trying to recolor the dragon token to look like Orgy.
You really don't have to do that.
What color? What color is Augie?
Well, he's red, but since I had kind of envisioned him as a part of the celestial deal, I had kind of always visioned he had like some blue and gold accent to him.
Mm-hmm.
So she asked me if that one worked. I was like, yeah, it looks a lot like him. And she's like, well, what's different? So I showed it to her, and now I feel bad
Okay.
that she's going through the work of doing that.
Eh,
We all need stuff to do.
yeah. I mean, I have a lot of stuff to do, but I also can do this while we're doing this. So,
And my leather's coming in from my dice box.
ooh,
There's some
Are you
content
making one?
from that. I had a buddy make me one. I think didn't I put it in new game?
You might have.
Did I? I did not. Let me post that real quick. Well, I probably don't have them anymore. Let me save them again.
Yeah, I'm taking license on the where the gold and blue accents are, just so you're
Yeah.
aware.
No, that's
Because this doesn't have the same sort of ridges that image does.
yeah. Well, and if you look at the pseudo dragon image that comes in the book, it's a lot closer to that token.
Yeah, because this token was designed specifically as a pseudo
Yeah.
dragon.
Whereas this,
Yeah, you just made a dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fine. But dragons look different, so it could look more like yours. I just don't have the ability to make the one on Hero Forge, so I'm just
oh, that's a
adjusting this
nice
one.
box.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Yeah, 8 3/4 by 8 3/4.
It's pretty.
Ooh,
So I can fit any rule book I want in it and take it with me.
Are you gonna like line it with like velvet or something like that for it
Uh,
to be a roll box too? Or?
The bottom's going to have leather in it for a roll box.
Ah, okay, cool.
That's on its way along with contact cement.
That's awesome.
Uh-huh.
It's really pretty. I like the stain.
Yeah, he did an amazing job. And it's all like, it's kind of like uneven or like not perfect because I told him like use scraps that you have. Like I don't want a perfect box.
Yeah.
Like I don't want it like because he was like getting all worried so it wasn't like coming out like perfectly square and stuff. And I was like, no, that's perfect.
Gives it character.
Yeah. Makes it feel more handmade.
mm.
Yeah, he usually does like tables and bowls and plates and things for people, and then sells them online.
Cool.
I'm happy with all of my roles, although I do feel like I'm not in a super like role play mode right now. My head is just not in that space.
I get that. Who's working today? Cool. I don't know if I got a response from Daniel.
Probably won't.
That's
He's
fine.
busy
No,
moving.
no, he's good. Then I'm gonna make an executive decision. I don't like making executive decisions. They're mean. They're not fun. But I also don't want everybody here to just be here for a narrative nothing.
I mean, it wasn't nothing. I got my dragon back and I had a face to face for the first time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Morris are talking about Hawkeye and Emily who haven't had a chance to do anything this session.
I'm not too worried about it.
I mean, yeah, but I do.
I'm making pretty dragon.
You're making what?
I'm altering the dragon token.
Ah, fancy. Fair enough. Cool, cool. Ow. Do. That's that. Cool. Sorry. Cool. I'm going to make an executive decision and say that we can go on with the Council of Five. Daniel's character not being there or not voicing a presence won't hurt us too much. And there will always be a secondary meeting with the council after you've done whatever needs to be done and fired Drake.
Okie dokie.
If everybody's cool with that.
Yeah.
Because
I have a-
otherwise we're just waiting on like the night of for another week.
Yeah.
Which I mean we can do if somebody wants to just like wait. I'm happy to do that too.
I mean, we could,
I mean, I guess my only question about that is, are we going to end up redoing it when when we find out like what his reaction would have been, or
Right, that's kind of
because
my
I'm
issue,
okay
too.
either way. Like, I don't think it would
No,
be
I know, but
terrible
I
if we
feel like
just
we'd
just
spend too
break
many
it so much.
sessions backtracking.
So on the map that's in Roll20 right now, is
Map,
is the
map,
circle
what's the map?
meeting happening at the full spot? Is that what's going on?
No.
No, the map is old.
Oh well,
So Purple Ring is
Oh yes, you didn't get explained right. Purple
It's
Ring is
Lot's tribe.
yeah, that's where the plague was technically happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, sorry, that's where the excavation was, or
no,
No, that's where the Nimloth's
People are.
God, it is.
circles
Oh, okay,
stuff is
okay.
going on with, which is different. What is this green dot even? I don't even know what the
Green dot
is.
is where you told Nimloth.
That's right, that thing. Yep, got it.
Yep.
Yep. Cool.
And the gold
And then
dot.
Wait,
there's gold
what's
square.
what's
Yeah,
was the
the
one at
green?
a time. What's the green?
green dot is I believe where I told
The Theremin.
Nimloth that first druid Therum disappeared.
Okay.
When he was looking for his little his whole thing was to figure out the information about that was his downtime, was to use the library and find that information. That's where the information he found trailed off at. The yellow square is the elven city in the Weldath. And
Halcistra.
yeah.
Like a legitimate city or an abandoned city?
Well, has anybody been to the elven city recently?
Gotcha. Okay.
It was legitimate 200 years ago.
I mean, it's my Coke, but you can have some.
So are the druids meeting in Mossstone?
The druids are meeting in Mossstone at the Druids
Okay.
Grove.
So I'd be like, you never know what could happen between here and there, but I guess like, never mind.
I mean, here and there is still a mile and a half, but you're not wrong.
And we get attacked by a dragon.
Hey, you know,
Missing his
suddenly-
star map.
suddenly you see a large blue dragon fly overhead
Magni
from
runs.
one mountain range to the
Uh,
other. No. Let's see how best to do this though, because I really don't want to like do the meeting twice. It's going to be a pain in the ass the first time. I hate myself for doing this. I'm sorry, guys. We might have to find
I
something
mean,
else to
you could
do.
always
the damn thing.
retroactively just be like, I didn't mean today, I meant tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. The next tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
The tomorrow after tomorrow. See, and this is the problem. If we were at the end of the month and not halfway through a fucking month because y'all are too fast at what you do, we could just say, "Oh, you forgot the one day in between months." Ha ha ha. No, we can't even do that. Ow, ow, that hurt. I just ripped my headset totally off my ear.
Ooh.
Motherfucker. Oh my god, darn, the dogs are losing their ever-loving minds. Yeah. Oh my goodness, the dogs are gonna lose it because now my niece is getting home. Shit. They're totally taking me out of this whole thing. I'm sorry. Let's see. Frick, man, I'm sorry. There's a whole day. There's a thing. There's stuff. Shit, man. I'm so sorry. I should have planned out better to have other bullshit to do in case this happened.
You're all good.
What did Warren and
Oh yeah, we can.
Ed
give you
Yeah, we
Donna
can
do
definitely
for
have
your
those
downtime?
conversations around the table about that stuff. That too. While Shulia is kids and children stop my feet. I swear to God. Sorry. Wow, I am really awful at being a DM. Yeah, it's a big limitless
I
circle.
mean, don't beat yourself up.
I
Yeah.
do
The worst
though,
ones
that's
out
what
there.
I do. Yeah, I know.
Mhm.
But I can't not beat myself up. It's not what I do, man. Um, shit, I'm really drawing fucking straws. All right. Cool. Okay, so Shulia would tell you all, as you've inquired, and the last time we left the table with, we'll get back to the table and actually do things now. With the last inquiry was, are you doing it for yourself or for somebody else? Um, and, I mean, I've always wanted to have something magically special. I don't see the need to share it with anybody else. If I find it, it's mine. Um, she's going to look at the rest of your group and kind of like gather you all. She's like, you have quite unique company.
One
And
word
she'll
for us.
sorry.
That's one word for us.
um, she's going to. Let me see if she knows things. She might know things. She definitely knows things. Cool.
Hell yeah.
She is going to scan around all of you before looking at Warren and pausing for a second. And oh my god, this is gonna kill me. How are all my notes awful? Literally the worst note taker in the existence of notes. They almost don't exist. That's not the page. That's not the page. That's not the page, and that's not the page.
Do your best.
I know I'm not though. Trying to be better. I'm sorry. There we go. There it is. Oh, there's a question I need to ask. Warren, ask you something. DMs real quick. See, that's the problem. Is my notes are all over the fucking place.
I see.
I'm sorry.
Oh, you're all good.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Cool. Cool. With the 19, she's going to kind of like survey around you all and notice each of your individual quirks and features. Well, you certainly aligned yourself with some interesting folk. Seems you've got quite a mechanic over there. And uh, your short friend here seems very interesting. And she's just kind of like looking around, trying to kind of like fumble and find positive things to say about the group that she sees, being extremely cordial. But also just trying to like kind of size up everybody, this, that, and the third. Obviously, she knows you, Kate, so that's not really the issue. She looks over and looks over to Warren one more time. So you look oddly familiar. She like pauses. Are you? Are you related to the Durgles?
Yes, I am. That's my clan.
I, I, pardon me, it's been some time since I've run into. Off table, did I say that wrong?
Nope.
Is there a proper way to say that?
Nope.
Durgle.
I say it Durgle, whichever.
Pauses, she's like, I thought you looked familiar. Your facial structure, your jaw, it's all too similar. Um, I didn't realize we were in the presence of nobility. Uh, it's always nice.
I mean, well, thank you. Nobility is being generous. We're certainly a
Um,
well-to-do.
renown may have been a better
Yes.
word, but still, anybody with position and stature is far more noble than I. Um, she kind of like smiles and winks.
Warren blushes.
The I last heard your business was going well. I'm glad to hear that they're finally branching out. Are you one of Alston's sons?
Yes, I am. I'm his oldest. My name is Warren.
That would track. You. Interesting. The oldest son. Just gonna like think on that for a moment. What are you doing all the way out here, though?
Uh, pissing my father off, no doubt.
Hmm.
Uh, I guess, how familiar are you with Alston?
I'm more familiar with his brother. Um,
Uh,
Off
which,
table. I'm going to because we haven't filled in anything about that. I don't think so.
yes.
I'm just gonna kind of make notes and we can roll along. Um, more familiar with his brother, Berg.
Yeah, Uncle Berg. Yeah. I mean, I guess I didn't. I
He,
didn't personally spend a lot of time around him, but
he, your father didn't particularly like Berg either. He always had a way of pissing Alston off. Whether it was some new invention, a new attempt at uh, making better shoes, or doing something a different way. He wasn't around much on your side of the family, as I recall. Ran into him a number of times, shared a great drink with him. He's a good friend of mine, but he did mention that the rest of his family did not particularly like him. He was almost like a black sheep of sorts. Um, but, but just the face, like you almost remind me of him, and that really threw me off.
oh, yeah. I guess there's some common ground for him and I now.
Hmm.
But yes, I suppose it's good to meet a friend of the family.
She kind of smiles. Um, do me a favor. Keep pissing your father off. I'm sure it would make Berg very happy. I always like to see that man happy.
Aha. Yes. My pleasure.
Well, not only are you in the company of renowned and pristine, but also a little bit of fame on the other end. And she'll kind of point back toward Cade.
Uh, Warren's eyebrows perk up as she says this, kind of like a do go on.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Oh, just Warren responding to that.
Um, yeah. She'll kind of look over. I mean, your uncle's practically famous. And she'll kind of like pat Cade on the chest with all the touring and things.
Yeah, he got around. He got around okay. You could say he's famous. That's a fair statement.
I mean, he's not as famous as I, but you know, he always liked to stay in the shadows here and there. But the entire group's pretty well known at this point. She just kind of smiles and chuckles, kind of leaving that door open for a moment. Um, Oh my goodness, I'm just blanking on blanking. So you all continue to do your dinnerly things and have this wonderful dinner. Also provided to you by the Oak Brothers Spoon as you're drinking and kind of like regaling each other. If you want, you are more than welcome to share table stories about things and stuff like that, about what has transpired. If anybody who wasn't around to ask wants to ask. I know you've all been doing your separate things and none of you really know what each other's been doing, so you take more than a moment to go over that if you'd like.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if anybody would like to roll into that, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, as the chatter of the inn kind of rises around us, and people are back to talking. Plates are clinking, drinks are being sloshed. Warren will turn to Cyrus and say, "Well, I spent my last 2 days over at the forge. I actually didn't get the forge master's name, but I assume it's something to do with Steel Eye. That's what his shop is called. He also has an eye patch, so there's that. Anyway, I was over there. My first day didn't go so well. I wasted some money and some materials, and the second day, Warren will reach down to the piece of armor between him and Adana and pull it up. Like, I made this set of half plate for Adana. I think it came out pretty well. I'm pretty happy about it.
Certainly better than any armor I've ever had before.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of, if I could get your old set for parts,
Yeah.
I'd appreciate that.
Well, you'll have to wait until morning, but yes.
Well, absolutely, of course. Warren blushes.
Script now.
I
I see that, and it's
we're
like,
forward, but I didn't realize.
what do you don't step into your armor in no clothes. I have clothes on under my mail.
Magnew kind of like looks down his armor and he's like,
Putting clothes on under armor. That's a concept.
That's a concept, yeah.
You guys wear underwear?
Oh, Lord.
I mean, other than my loincloth, I don't got nothing on but chainmail.
Oh, Jesus. That thought hadn't even crossed my mind.
Yeah, no, Magnew is a scruffy looking dude.
Well, I mean, I thought I can't see as well, so
That's fair.
that's fine.
And it's got this like image of like a fully clothed regal
Yeah.
Magnew in her head. She's like, no,
Yeah.
I'm just giving some chainmail. Like that's what I do. Like, oh no. Cool. And you all, yeah, you have a moment to continue to talk and chatter and do things. As the noise of the tavern kind of like dies down a little bit. And picks back up and rouses again, and you hear a small elven band kind of playing in the corner, just some like happy music. Nothing crazy.
What about you, Adana? Looks like you've got a new piece strapped on your side there.
I have a new sword. It is very weird. I can it's like everything has. It's weird.
I will say this new granted ability has been quite overwhelming in this loud bar. Like while you've been listening to the story and hearing these things, you can hear conversations from further than you expected. Like things that you would normally just be able to block out. It's just like, oh, you can hear like whispers that
Yeah.
that
Like
conversation from the people like way over there, and then you're still able to like hear bits and pieces of things. Like your other senses have been heightened. Like the smell of the food is richer. Everything as you have the sword on you.
Like, you know those guys in the back corner? I think they are talking about like trying to hit on the barmaid.
You can hear them?
Yeah, I don't ask me how. It started with the sword, and take a look. I don't know. It's got a weird eye on it.
Warren is very interested in this. So Warren will, if she offers it to him, he'll.
Oh yeah, I dump it on the table.
Yeah.
Cool.
Warren just wants to make a basic,
Yeah.
Arcana check, whatever kind of
Yeah,
check.
and now all of you would see Adana kind of draw this sword that she can't see but can feel. And it is this is a really cheesy way to describe this, but I'm going to describe it this way because it's the first image that comes into my head. And it's not right, but it's close. Who here has seen Thundercats?
Yes.
Yeah.
Me.
Everyone except me, which is very ironic.
That's hilarious.
That's pretty funny.
So it looks like the Eye of Thundara in a
Nice.
sense of just like a sword with an eye in the hilt, and a straight blade. Very nice, very well made, angled in a way where it's almost perfectly balanced, even with this extra piece weighing down the hilt. And I will do a.
And the
check
eye is
here.
ornamental, or is it like magical? Is it moving? Is it?
It is stationary for now, but it does look like more like a real kind of like eye. Like it's got detail. It's got a pupil. It's got eye.
Like a glass. Someone put a glass eye in a sword.
Almost.
Oh, great.
Strange
I
eye
will
of
say no.
Agamotto
Like
here on your blade.
so like. God, this is gonna be hard to describe. So think like blade handle, and then you've got like the cross guard, and inside of that is what looks like almost like a realistic slit for what an eye would be, and you can see the eye, and if you look at the other side of the blade, you see the eye on both sides. It doesn't appear to be rotating or floating or anything, but you do notice that the blade itself does, like the eye frame around it, does close and open.
Ah, jeez.
But the eye itself is stationary in the hilt of the sword, and then it's just straight sword. Very nice.
And then,
interesting looking thing.
sorry,
It's
I'm
basically
like
it's
dying to
blinking
know
at
how
you,
this
yeah.
works. So when she sets it down, does that sense immediately stop? Like you have to be touching it, or?
That was going to be my question.
I'm going to say it follows attunement rules, but just yada yada the attunement rules into your training. So she doesn't immediately lose her sense of it, but if she was without it for an hour or so, like physically separated from it, she would lose the benefits. Like somebody else couldn't just pick it up and enhance, but if they were to also attune to it with an hour, then they would gain the enhanced abilities.
Dope. Okay, I'm done. Sorry, proceed.
No, you're good. I
It's really
appreciate
cool,
the question because it's mechanics of things.
Yeah.
Warren's read a lot of books about like magic items and whatnot. Can he do like a history check or something to see if he's heard of anything like this before?
Sure, make a history check. Daniel said we can press on. He doesn't mind, but I'm still of the camp where I don't want to have to repeat things, so I think we're just gonna not press on to that meeting. Narratively, I mean, if we have absolutely nothing else to do, we can walk up there. But it's better just to be team players and wait for our teammate.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, there's always like introductions and things that.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. I'm aware.
That's a 20.
Like I said, we can get right up to it, but we're not gonna actually have the meeting. That's a dirty 20 or an actual 20?
Dirty 20 with one of my features.
Fair enough. Cool. I mean, magical swords are a thing.
Mhm.
They have different properties. They look different. You can see even that Magnu's weapon and Cyrus's weapons have both started to change shape slightly and kind of take forms.
Mhm.
And being unique, and you've seen more unique blades than you can count over your years of being around the world. I don't think you ever heard of a sword with an eye in it.
Cool.
It's a little bit strange. It's very it's a very exotic looking weapon
Mhm.
as far as things go. Like it's not something that you would pick up in a shop normally, or just find.
Right.
Obviously, it was picked up in a shop, but that's not the norm, if that
Right.
makes sense.
Yep.
Whatever was found seems to be very unique.
Warren pulls out a notepad, makes a sketch of the sword, takes notes on the effects that it had on Adana.
Mhm.
He kind of loses himself in his books for a bit.
Okay. Cool. So Warren is busy sketching away. As Athana kind of shows and brandishes the sword. It's a very nice sword. And you can hear those guys. They're totally talking about hitting on that bartender. He's like, "No, you don't have a chance, man. Nah, I got this. Watch this."
As
And
Anthana
then-
said, like, there's guys gonna hit on the barmaid. Magni, like, grabs his pick. He's like, no one's gonna hit these nice people. He's, like, about to get up.
Hit on like
She
no.
means-
Like that place Cade took you to a couple days ago.
Yes.
We didn't hit nobody.
As everybody's trying to explain to him, he just kind of, like, calms down.
And then a couple moments later, as you're calming Magni down, you just hear this loud, as somebody behind you has been royally slapped in the face by said barmaid.
Yeah, I didn't think their pickup lines were that great.
Yeah, but cool. I thought you shared yours. Everybody else has their stuff and things, but yeah. You all continue to drink and enjoy each other's company. You hear those gentlemen in the corner kind of like trying to like coax Julia to come back, and she's just like blown them off completely at this point. She's just catching up with Cade and having like this side conversation about like how's the family been, how's everything been going. Obviously your uncle's still in good health as last you left him. She kind of questions like, well, why did you end up leaving and going out on your own? I mean, I know the troop probably wasn't ever the direction you were going to go, but you're just so far from home, aren't you?
Yeah, I guess I am a little bit far from home. I left Greenest for a while and was taking small jobs in Baldur's Gate for a while, and just kind of felt need to get out of town and see something else, I guess you could say. And so that's how I ended up down south, kind of looking for more work. So it is kind of a long distance. Haven't wanted to make the trip back to check in on people. So it's been some years since I've been up there for sure.
That makes sense. Travel is usually best to help clear the mind. I know your uncle was an avid traveler. I believe your parents were more kind of rounded and stayed in the same area for the most part, but you always did take after your uncle.
I did learn a lot from him, right? He kind of taught me some acrobatics, and spellcasting was more his thing than my thing. But recently I've started to kind of look into it myself and have discovered some of my own innate abilities. So kind of an interesting exploration, yeah.
Kind of smiles at that. Let's She kind of like smiles at that and pauses. Let's on that note, let's see if we can go and get your friend back. It requires you to be in a less loud space so you can kind of focus on your things. Do you want to come with me?
Yeah, sure.
she will kind of like lead you towards the exit of the tavern itself. You see those same gentlemen, the carousers, trying to kind of like, gentlemen and ladies and fans, kind of like, oh, surely, I'll be back. I'll be back for a good long while. Yep. I just need to go run an errand or two. And she kind of like steps out, leading you out into the night itself. She kind of pauses for a moment. I know just the place, and she like leads off into the city and starts walking away into the city. Not city, but into the countryside-ish area of this small village thing. And she leads you to a glade. Quiet, serene, moonlight kind of shining in through it. And here we are. Wonderful. And she begins to go through the process of how to do what she does. And she kind of like focuses, prepares. First, you need to center and calm yourself. There's a lot of methods and ways to do these things. I find breathing deep in a calm space usually helps. And she starts going through and explaining the process of calming yourself and then potentially trying to summon your familiar once again. She is going to basically do everything that she's told you to do as far as like breathing, relaxing, and calming, and then she's going to summon her creature and kind of like elicit you, or kind of like open-handed you to do the same if you can. And it takes a good while and a little bit of time to like kind of like focus and center yourself because you're excited and everything else. But about an hour or so goes by of sitting in this glade and just like trying to be tranquil and be at peace and relax. And you go to use the spell again, and it doesn't seem to take effect. And you try it one more time, and just kind of like follow the process she said. You just hear the heavy flapping of wings as eventually perches on your shoulder once again.
Hooray! I give him lots of happy little pats.
Very happy. And then you see Lucius is just kind of a little jealous. And you see him, oh. She's like, no, calm down. She like sends Lucius back to whatever plane she summons him from. And she kind of like smiles. Like, oh, that's a smile I haven't seen in a long time. It's nice that I can still bring a smile to your face, even if it's not with fancy tricks or illusions. You guys kind of have that nice little like caretaker and caretakey moment in this glade at probably about 10 o'clock at night or so. Before eventually being returned back to the Oakfather's Boon, where she separates from the rest of the group. I'll be over here. I feel like I've kept them waiting for far too long. But I'll be around the city for a bit. You all go do your thing. I hope Silvermane gives you all the information you need, and I'd like to be having a chat with him myself soon enough. But that's none of your business. It's more so for my personal errand. But we should catch up again soon. She kind of nods, does a little bow, and kind of wanders back off to the other group of her fans who are now like, I had this drink waiting for you, and it's like, oh, my favorite. Thank you so much. And she drinks it up and continues to carouse and have a good time. And
Yeah, well,
be part
right
of
before off, I'd like to give her a big hug and tell her that truly that it's really good to see a familiar face after
she
so
would
long.
absolutely embrace and hug you before departing.
And then I would say we have some business that we need to take care of tomorrow. Yeah, talking to Arcus, but we'll take a look around town for you afterwards and see if you're still around.
I should be, unless something's gone horribly wrong. In which case, well, then something's gone horribly wrong. And she smiles, winks, and nods off.
All right, cool. And I
And
kiss
you're-
her hand as she's off.
smiles at that and walks away. Cool. That is that, and you run back, and you're eventually back with your party, who's been here for another hour or so, kind of drinking and doing and enjoying each other.
Hey guys, I got my L back.
Mhm. It's a happy little owl.
And I offer him to everyone if they want to give him pats.
He's a video. And you just see Augie kind of like poke his head out. And like, oh, you're back.
Pickles claps two of his tentacles together, making a little
happy.
metallic clink, clink, clink.
Yay! Oh, happy. Happy times. Happy times in the Oak Father Spoon. Let's see. Is there anything else going on here tonight? It's always a good question. Let's see. I think that's it. But the night wears on. Those two gentlemen, within the hour or so after getting the hard slap and Cade leaving the building, those two gentlemen eventually get escorted out by a large half Goliath of some kind, who's basically like gotten them both by the scruff and just kind of like taken them out of the Oak Feathers building and kind of like tossed them into the street. Like, this is a prime establishment. You're not going to bother the bartenders, the barmaids, the guests, or anyone else. Get out of here. If you want to do all that, you go to the drinking jack. I need everybody to make a perception check for me.
Heck yeah.
Dokey.
Adana with advantage.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Where we at? Nice, Magno. Yeah, buddy. You're
Yeah.
hearing things, man. Magno's sitting there. Man, there was this totally awesome dude named Fish. No.
Right? Yeah.
We're all so
Regaling my
self-absorbed.
He's
story.
adopted the bro. No. That's narrating too far now. Cool. 1, 2, 3, 1, and what was Cyrus?
What was the question? I missed it.
Oh,
Sorry,
I'm
my
sorry.
daughter
Can
was
you roll
talking
a
to me.
perception check for me? No, you're good.
Yeah. God, I'm not.
Thanks. Nobody had a great perception. Wonderful. Adana, yours is the best at 15. You're over here in this conversation. I guess Cade wouldn't make one because you're standing outside. But you over here in this conversation of like being thrown out and say, hey, you don't go here, you go to the jack if you want to deal with that. You all get out of here. And you hear, with your enhanced hearing, one of the men whose voices you had heard whispering just kind of like says loudly enough for you to pick up on. He says, man, I'm not going back to the jack, man. There's that crazy chick there. She's been doing knifey hands with everybody. She's real dangerous. I don't like her at all. There's got to be another bar, right?
Knifey
Kind of
hands.
smile a little. Um,
Trick finger.
Yes.
Scamming the bar.
Yes.
but yes, you all are to the rest of your evening drinking, cajoling, and eventually going up to your rooms and going to sleep with all of your familiars in tow and intact and healthy and alive again. An old friend and an acquaintance remade, and Athana with your new set of armor that you're carrying while wearing your old set of armor up to your rooms. The night goes by pretty peacefully in the Oak Father Spoon. The lavish rooms kind of mold and accustomed to each one of you as you've been staying there a couple days now. Features almost appear in the rooms to accentuate your lifestyles and what you would normally do. The night wanes, the morning comes. You all wake up to different pleasant sounds that seem to almost be being created by the rooms that you're in. Almost like a room-styled ambience alarm clock. twittering birds, the rest of the wind in the distance, even though these are interior rooms on the interior of a tree. But it's a very peaceful way to wake up. You all would get prepared, put on your equipment and things, head out to breakfast, presumably. You would get your... Oh, excuse me, Jeebus. You would get your Heroes Feast quality style of breakfast. And you would be set upon the town. You do know that you have your meeting with the druids. Nimloth would come down almost expectantly and ready to go to this thing. You see a little bit of nerves in their face as they're now expected to have a seat at this council. But they're also eager to get there and actually get this meeting underway. So you all make your way through the city, down to the Druid's Grove. I need a perception check from everybody with vision. And a separate perception check for Adhana with hearing. Vision perceptions are much better.
Nimue,
Mm,
you've been muted if you
Yeah.
were talking.
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
All I got was an
Hey.
O and a at my roll, so. Oh, yay!
I'm
That's
alert
really
today.
nice.
That's very nice. Cool.
The old pendulum.
Interesting. So as you're all walking through the city, that's pretty good rolls from everybody. Magno obviously with the best. Continuing to walk all the way down to the Druid's Grove. From the Oak Father's Boon is not that far. As you're walking, you see a lot of the shops and things like that are running well lively to do. You kind of walk through the shops district of this part of town as you're going to the south. And you see two little children kind of like you've noticed them out of the corner of your eyes, just like running around, being around. You've seen them probably in the town for a couple of days now. But there's at least 2 to 4 children that are just kind of been like running around the shopping district. Magnu with a natural 20, you're low enough to the ground and would realize as you're kind of like tracking these kids and they just keep running around and doing all this crazy stuff. Little half-elven kids in this large market area. You notice they like run somewhere and then disappear for a time and then run another place and disappear for a time. And you're just curious enough that you're interested in it. Just kind of like wag your tail, look over and see. Do you have a tail? Do you not have a tail?
I have a tail. Yeah.
You have a tail. Cool. Kobolds have tails. I'm just trying to make sure I remember. Cool. And as you're looking around, you notice one of these little kids kind of like takes a piece of fruit off of one of these carts and kind of just like disappears. And you notice another one on the other side of the aisle just kind of like grabs a little bit of a trinket and kind of like vanishes again. They reappear further down the way a little bit later and continue take and do these same things.
Maybe
What's
like
your
I'm seeing
natural?
them. I'm seeing them like take things.
Yeah, you're seeing them like loot and pilfer little things from vendors and marketplace things and things like that. Street urchins type things, if you will.
I mean, am I close? Am I like close to them? Am I far away from them?
At first you're a little bit far away. Seem to see it at a distance, and then it happens closer to you and probably about a booth and a half away from you at one point. As far as like there are stalls and things like that all the way down the road, it's just kind of like happening as you're walking through.
Like,
And
they're
y'all
about,
are moving at a casualist pace, so
are they like about the same height as me? Bigger?
yeah, they're probably about a little taller than you just because they're elven kids, but they're not. They look young, like maybe.
And the
10,
merchants don't
12.
seem to notice that they're just taking things.
Most of the merchants they're stealing from are engaged in trying to sell something to somebody or make a sale, make a fair, make a trade. They seem to be picking out the booths with distracted owners for the most part. They've been pretty organized as well. Like they don't hit. You notice a little bit of a pattern. They don't hit dead booths. They don't Like if there's no action there, somebody just sitting there
Can I
waiting to sell
tackle
stuff,
one
they're
of
not
them?
stealing from.
Oh Jesus.
Sure, absolutely.
I'm not trying to
You
hurt
go.
them. I'm just trying to
No,
like.
absolutely. Make an athletics roll.
Athletics. It's acrobatics, athletics. 15.
Jesus, cool. So the rest of the party would kind of like get a flash of Magnus' skin colors. He just kind of like darts off of the rest of the group and goes and tackles what is a little sandy-haired boy. And you tackle the shit out of this kid. Like you tackle him. I'm gonna say you tackled him right about after the time he grabbed something else from one of the tables and was kind of like making a getaway. You just clobber into him, take him tumbling onto the ground, rolling with him, and you just hear the, what the heck? What did you do that for? What? Oh God, that hurt.
What do you think you're doing?
I'm not doing nothing. Just
Can I like dig into his pockets and pull out what he has, and just
sure,
like strew it
absolutely.
across the ground?
Yeah. So as you dig into these like coat style pockets that he has, you pull out about 5 or 6 different necklaces, couple of bits of coin, trinket, this, that, and the third.
Also,
In the
I'm
inner
trying
vest
to make
pocket.
a ruckus. Like I'm trying.
Yeah,
to
no,
get
absolutely.
attention. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. In the inner vest pocket, you find 2 like smaller sized looking apples and a little bit of food and things like that and this and that. And as you're making this spectacle, the merchant kind of like looks over, sees what's going on, immediately exclaims, "Oh, that little thief!" and starts going towards the boy, trying to accentuate this ruckus. And now it's become a scene at this point.
I
Jimmy
think
looks down.
Magni would like strew out what's in his pockets and like hold the boy, not like more like a restraining the child, and see what like trying to figure out what like
Yeah.
there was a second one, so I'm trying to see the second one now.
Cool. Make a perception check for me,
God damn it.
or an investigation check. Whatever you prefer.
I mean, I think they're both bad, but
I mean, that's fair.
oh no, my investigation's +2. I'm gonna make an investigation check. Hey.
Jesus Christ.
What in the world?
So as you investigating around, if you got this boy like held down and the merchant's just going off on the kid, and you can see the kid almost welling up with tears and crying below you, as he's been caught and he's trying any defense mechanism he can to get out of it. And the merchant kind of like picks up the jewelry and say, "This was from my shop." And as this whole scene is happening, you're looking around trying to figure out, where that other one was, where they might be. And off in the distance, probably about 60, 70 feet off, at another merchant's booth, you see 2 kids using this new calamity that you've created to pilfer a couple booths where merchants have just kind of like walked out of them, and then they also disappear. You now see it's about 4 to 6 kids, and they are just like using your distraction as like, oh, sucks for Johnny, and just keep going about and like stealing and doing and looting. And they manage to kind of like disappear off into one of the alleyways, or like off, not alleyways. It's not like a city with walls. It's
They just disappear into the.
They just disappear kind of like behind the canvases and things like that. Yeah.
Gotcha. So Magnu kind of sees this as like more of like a coordinated attempt to steal, and I think Magnu would be like, "Don't worry, get your stuff back. I'm gonna figure out what's going on here and take this kid to the proper authorities," and like kind of like take the kid away back to the group, still restraining him.
To your group? Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Trying to get him away
Absolutely.
from like this big crowd of
Yeah.
people that like clearly are
Cool. Make a
more
persuasion check for me.
ruckusy than not.
Mm-hmm.
Persuasion.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I'll take it.
It's not bad. Yeah, best you deal with him, and they kind of like part in for you to drag the boy out as they get their things and they gather their things so we can head back to their booths and stuff like that. The rest of you would see Magnu dart off, tackle a child, pick his pockets, start a scene, and then drag the boy back to the rest of you.
Magnu,
you
what is
doing?
going on?
When we're like in a group, I'd like sit the boy down. And I'd be like, he was stealing from people with a bunch of kids. Something's going on here.
And I'd look down. I'd kind of crouch down, try to be face level with the boy. And is that true?
No.
I
Believe that.
I attempt to intimidate the child. Tell the truth.
uh, yeah, I mean, we was taking, but we only taking stuff to help us survive.
Do I believe him?
Can we do an?
Do you
I'll do
believe
an
him?
insight check on him.
I would. That's what I'm trying to do.
Oh yeah. Can I help him in an insight check?
Yeah, sure.
So advantage then, or just
Yep.
normal?
Insight advantage.
Insight. Where do I go? Insight. There's finally one good roll,
Mhm.
followed by a not good roll. Okay.
Nice. Well, with advantage, that's an 18. You look at this kid and you look him over, and as he says this, and you kind of like look him up and down. Kid's almost skin and bones. Like he's very thin, very tiny. He doesn't look very in good health, if I'm being honest. But
Kid,
seems to be telling the truth.
kid, where are you staying? Like, parents, friends?
I mean, got some friends. We don't really have no parents, and we don't really have no place to stay. It's kind of like reserves in and like just refuses to say a little bit more than it was gonna. It seemed like he was about to reveal some information, and just kind of like pulled back.
So I take some. I kind of reach back into my bag. I take just kind of one of the daily rations, that we keep in our bags for traveling, and give the kid some food. I kind of lean down and I look at him and look. Stealing's not right. It's not what we need to do. Let's find your friends and see what we can do to help you guys out. But I need you to take me to them.
He kind of takes the ration from you. He doesn't eat it. He kind of opens his jacket pocket and puts it in there. I'm sorry, mister. I can't really do that. I appreciate you being kind and all, but the group would kick me out if I took anybody back there. I won't steal from nobody's no more though.
I smile at him and I don't really believe that. I feel like when I walk away, you'll just start again or wait a couple days and start again. We need to get to the bottom of this. Where are you and your friends at? Staying at? And I cast friends on him.
Okay. What is friends? What is the mechanics
The
behind friends?
enchantment cantrip. For the duration, you have advantage on all charisma checks. Directed
Cool.
at
Make
one.
a persuasion check with advantage.
I don't know why it's not doing it for me, but
It's okay. Wow. Very nice. Cool. So with a 20 in persuasion against his. Oh wow! Glad you got that 20. Huh? He rolled a 17 on his deception. And friends is with advantage, and then the friends thing. Can we look up at you and pause for a moment? And I can show you, but Johnny's gonna be real mad. He doesn't want nobody telling nobody nothing. Mm,
You know, friends that get mad at you when you're only trying to help, probably not good friends.
He said, "Don't know what else want to help. They're just they don't help us now. Why would they want to help if they're seeking us out? If they're seeking us out, they're just trying to find us to capture us." That's what Johnny said. But
I mean, we're trying to seek you out, and we're trying to help you.
Is he
he
gonna?
kind of like looks over at Magna. You- If you were trying to help me, you didn't need to tackle me over there. It was just
Well, how else was I supposed to
not
stop
made
you?
a scene. Chase me or play tag or something. You didn't have to do it in front of everybody. Now I can't go back to this. It's fine. Okay. And he kind of like stands up and Johnny's gonna be real mad. He kind of like walks towards you. All right,
Well,
come on, this way.
we'll let him be mad at us, not you.
Okay. And he kind of like wanders off and wanders in a direction, going to the west of where your current destination is, kind of off into yay part of the road, west hand side, or the left hand side of where you're traveling down from. And he takes you for about 5 or 10 minutes through this sprawling market area that kind of disperses out into little homes and hovels and huts. And then he takes you towards the tree line, towards the well depth. You're kind of leaving out of the city at this point, towards the trees, towards the forest. About 5-10 minutes later, you're right towards the edge of the forest, and the city is far behind you at this point. And he's like, it's just up this way, a little farther. See, nobody comes in this part of the wood, so we made a big tree house. It's like a house, but it's up there.
Can we see it by this point, or is it further in?
As you're walking up and walking in, you do not see a tree house. You just see the tree line, and then a small like opening. It seems like a natural-ish path into the wood itself. He's like, "Come on, this way. It's just a little bit in. We want to make sure nobody spots us from a distance." Goes in. He's like leading at this point. And about 2 or 3 minutes into the wood, you see a large tree, kind of not in the center of a clearing or anything, but in relation to all the other smaller trees around it. You see this very large tree with knotted up, broken roots and branch and things like that. And you see what almost looks like a makeshift ladder, kind of like made into the tree itself. And you see a large platform in the tree above.
Does it appear to be like a well-built treehouse, or is it just like a shamble of?
It's not carpentry level good. There are nooks and niches up higher in the tree that seem like they're livable space. It doesn't seem like it's like I'd say probably on the more fact of it seems like kids made this,
Mm-hmm.
but they also do seem to be living out here.
Okay.
It's not great. It's kind of in shambles, but it is organized. As far as a ladder that goes up a large tree into a bunch of like platforms kind of like stationed on the tree's branches and across the tree and stuff like that.
So I'd send Augie up real quick just to look. Is there anybody up there yet, or are they all still in town?
That's a good question. That's a good question that needs a dice roll to answer. They are. As Augie flies up, he'll kind of like lean over the first set of wooden planks and stuff like that. After you get up the actual ladder, you just kind of like fly up in that area and fly around. And he would notice that there are about 3 or 4 kids kind of inhabiting this place. Just kind of up in the branches and kind of dealing with stuff. If you're not looking through his eyes, he would kind of try and telepathically kind of reach back to you. Like, are there some people here? They're tiny people like this one.
Are they watching us?
One of them is.
Okay.
And I'll just kind of do a little pass and fly around. If you are looking through its eyes, which I don't know if you are.
Yeah, I would go ahead and look once he says there's people there. And
Cool. As you look through his eyes, you would see one kind of like sitting on what appears to be like some sort of sentries area, kind of looking down at you all, looking down at the group and kind of focused on that, not so much on this dragon that's kind of flying around. And then a little ways off on another platform, you see one of the children kind of like stringing up laundry on a clothesline of some sort. Another one seems to be like trying to like cut up and prepare some of the apples and things that are stolen from the town. You see a small like treasure trove in the distance, or just like a pile of trinkets and things that have been stolen and captured and repurposed per se. But only one kid seems to be looking at you. The rest seem to be doing chores or something like that around this platformed area. What is kids?
I would assume the little guy, the friends would have worn off quite a while ago. Is he relaxed yet, or is he anxious now?
Which little guy?
The one
Little
that
guy
brought
with
us
the-
out here.
Very anxious. He's very nervous. He's they're really not gonna like this. Should I call up to him? Do you want to climb up? You said you wanted to meet him. They're my friends, I guess.
You guess?
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
did I
if
miss
you-
something?
No. Maybe. Everything.
Maybe.
No. Talking with the little kid, asking if he was anxious or not. He said he's very anxious. Mumbling about, well, they're his friends, he thinks. How long does the friend spell last?
Only a minute. So I mean,
Yeah, so immediately after that conversation, you've been very wary of the fact that you use magic on him, but he's also a child and understands that if somebody's powerful enough to use magic on him, he's not going to really argue at that point.
Yeah.
So.
Alright. Let's go ahead and call him down. I'll tell the little boy to go ahead and have him come down, and we'll all just talk.
You hear him kind of like shut up. Hey guys, I'm home. Can you come on down? I need to talk to you for a second. I gotta tell him you're here. I brought some people with me. They seem okay. With that, you hear the scuttling and moving of planks and boards above as you see like 3 children's faces just kind of like peer out over the edge and down. 2 girls and 1 boy, and all half elven, all looking kind of down and toward the group. It's like, Billy, we told you not to bring anybody here. It's supposed to be private. I know. I'm sorry, Emily. But they don't look friendly. They got swords and armor, and they got a big dragon and a little dragon. No, we're not coming down. Stay up here. But they say they want to help.
You know, big little dragon's actually really friendly. Sure,
The
he'd
big-
like a pet.
Did you say the big little dragon or the
The li-
little?
I meant the little one. And my brain just went, nope, that one.
Thinking Magnu.
Yeah,
No.
no, sorry. Magna gets mislabeled as dragon a bunch of times in this
Yeah,
campaign. I
I know.
apologize.
I had to
but it's-
think what they meant by big
Yeah.
dragon. I was like, what?
I mean, you're talking to half-elf kids who have never seen a kobold
Yeah.
in their lives. Like,
No, it's funny. I was just thinking the whole Magnu wanting a pet.
I mean,
Who doesn't want pets?
make a let's have Billy make a persuasion check, 'cause that'll be more fun. Yeah, they're not too keen on Billy making persuasion checks. Cool. You hear the girls up top kind of like arguing back and forth. Hey, Rosie, what are you doing? And then you see one of the half-elf girls kind of like go over to the staircase or the ladder thing and start to climb down a little bit. She's like, well, Billy says they're nice, so I'm going to go down and see what's going on. And she seems much older than Billy or the other one, probably maybe mid-teens. And she begins to climb down the ladder. And the younger girl up top is like, uh, you shouldn't do that. They're going to do something bad. They're adults. They're big people. Y'all just better hope Johnny doesn't get back. And she continues to climb down the ladder and eventually meets up with you all.
So,
What do you want?
just wondering how many of you there are living out here.
There's enough of us.
Enough, like 5 or 10.
Like, it's really bad form to. I read this. I read it's really bad form to tell your enemy how many people you have.
I
It's-
guess that we're your enemy.
all tall people are enemies.
All tall people.
All grown folk like you.
How old are you?
Like counts on fingers. 13.
I say you got about 3 years before you're tall folk.
You see her mouth like open in the gas, like. I don't want to be tall folk.
You know, I was taller than you when I was your age.
She kind of looks up at you. But why aren't you really tall folk then?
Because unfortunately my brothers were shorter, and therefore they are taller.
Short, tall. I see her doing like mental math with like trying to figure out why that makes sense. Oh, okay. That tracks. But I'm not gonna be a tall person. Not me, never. Billy, why'd you
Tall
bring them
folk
here?
get to do so much fun. We get to have dragons as pets. We get to go to bed whenever we want.
You're kind of getting a little like starry-eyed, almost like wanting for something more. And then you hear kind of shout out from up top. It's like, all tall people ever do is run away and never come back. That's all they're good for. Leaving.
Sure, they're good for leaving. They do come back. I
You
mean,
see the girl up in the tree just cross-faced, like shaking her head.
I left home. I'm going back. I'm tall folk.
And you hear Billy, the boy in front. When you left home, did you leave anybody you cared about?
My mother. But I went looking for someone else I cared about.
See the kid kind of like hear the word mother and just almost like well up with tears. Rosie kind of like puts her arm around him and kind of brings him in. Uh, the only thing we all have together is the fact that we're each other's family, because none of our families came back. So don't fill his head with all this stuff, please. Thank you.
Was there not a?
I kneel next to them. Trust me. I understand. I've been waiting 20 years. But that doesn't mean that you can't have fun, but not steal from people. There are right ways of doing things and wrong ways of doing things.
But it's the only way we get monies. It's the only way we get stuff to be able to live. If we don't have people take care of us, Johnny take care of us. But
Where is Johnny?
probably out in town, probably making us all safe again.
How does Johnny make you safe?
Make sure nobody gets left behind. He makes plans. Johnny real smart. He makes plans. He makes sure we all have food. He goes in town, buys stuff for us when we need. Rosie will kind of look up. That's oh, nice. Did you make that? That's ridiculously good. I love that. Anyway, and she'll just like Johnny is Emily's older brother. He's like a caretaker for all of us. We don't have anywhere to go. Nobody's gonna employ a bunch of street thieves.
When she says that, you guys hear Warren's armor hiss and whir as it opens up and lets him step out. He steps down out of his armor, and he's a very thin, short person. And he walks over to her and
Yeah,
kneels
she's taller
down.
than you.
Yeah, he did. Well, he doesn't kneel in that case, but he's like, well, that's not necessarily true. I think we might have a proposition for you guys. At least I do. If you all are willing to listen.
We can't make no decisions. But when Johnny gets back, he might be able to listen. And y'all don't seem evil, but you're also tall people, so you don't seem good.
I raise my eyebrows when she says tall people.
I mean, yeah, most of us are short people. Let's be honest.
In gnome years, I'm really only a couple years older than you, so.
So,
Well, you're all older than me.
Yeah, he's younger than you.
That guy's too.
But he's a dragon.
Two.
He's scary.
I'm not a dragon. As the kids are like talking like about their situation, Magnu becomes more sympathetic. Like he's softer spoken and
Understandable. Emily's gonna kind of look at you all. You all don't seem evil. If you got something to propose, I have to wait till Johnny get back. But he might listen to you, might not. And then Billy kind of looks up at the tree itself. It's like, hey. He then leans over, pulls down on the other side, and whispers something to her. She kind of looks down at him. It's like, if you want, you could come up into the treehouse momentarily. Wait for Johnny to get back. Billy says that you all aren't bad people. You're just rough and stern. And did you tackle him?
Uh,
2-year-old.
wasn't intending to hurt him. I was just trying to stop him from possibly getting in more trouble than what I could help out with.
It's an awfully backwards logic. Yeah. Okay, if you want to come up, you can come up. And she's gonna kind of shout out, Nigel, don't shoot. And you just see this little boy with like a slingshot, just like ready. It's like, looks kind of saddened that he has to like not have the slingshot ready. Okay, I won't shoot as long as they climb fast.
I mean, do you make exception for blind people?
What's up, blind people?
Hi.
Then you just see the boy with the little thing. He's probably like maybe 7 or 8. He just kind of like shies up and like tucks back over the edge. What do you do?
I
go
get
up into the
back
tree.
into my armor and start climbing up.
You get back in your armor and start climbing up a tree with loose branch. Okay.
I mean, it's a ladder, right?
It's
Mm,
a ladder in the sense that it goes upward and has places to set your feet.
It's just blocks nailed into the trunk.
You're more than welcome to climb with your suit on. But I mean, you would see that it is a rickety at best. Like, kids can use this and won't break anything or shit won't fall off. But adults using it's going to be kind of a pain in the ass, and your armor is not exactly light. I would say everybody could decently make it into the tree if you wanted to. However, I would need a survival check from Warren if you're in the armor.
Can I take the additional time to hammer in the 10 pittons I have on me as I go up as like more sure footing?
Sure.
All right.
So you take about 10 minutes while everybody else is up in the tree, and you're like hammering these things in and making sure everything fits. Make that with advantage for me.
Survive.
Is that you're gonna do that without their consent? Is that right?
Yes, yes. Shoring up their rickety ass ladder. Absolutely.
Being helpful, you know?
Yep. And while everybody else is climbing this rickety ladder up, or waiting to either or your choice, it's almost like while you're going up and like climbing, you're just like, oh, this one's off. Fix it. This one's, and like you straightened out a ladder. It's not the best, but it's more sturdy than it was the first time. You seem to have used like a longer like spike or nail for some of these things than what they might have had available from stuff they pilfered and stolen. And like all these pieces of wood and all these planks and boards that kind of like make up what this ladder was are all different colored, all off colored, some with rusty nails in them, some with it's a scene. But you manage to kind of shape those up as you make your way up, and you are all now in the tiny treehouse that strands about across like 5 or 6 different branches of this tree in varying levels and things, and just like little pieces of wood and plyboard and things like that kind of like stacked around the area. And you notice now that there is a decently meager living situation where like you see the clothes strung out on a line. You see they've got like a pantry style area for like just all the food gatherings and things they have. They have a small little place with like tiny sheets for like bedding and stuff like that. It's very meager, very underwhelmingly done, but it's the best they can do. So it's kind of the scene that you see before you. And as you all are up there and sitting around with these 4 kids, presumably waiting for Johnny to return, that's where we're going to end it. We'll pick back up next week. Because I have to get to a job interview.
Okie dokie.
Not a job interview, but more training. But still.